the 10 laws of leadership is just to pick up from what we laid the foundation last week. And I will start by saying with this common quote that everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm sure some of you have heard that phrase before. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Nothing grows outside the leaders of an organization. Nothing grows outside the leader who pilots a particular venture. If you see anything that is growing well, check the leader. If you see anything that is not growing well, check the leader. The growth of anything is tied to the growth of the leader. The growth of anything is tied to the growth of the leader. No business can outgrow the leadership of the person who started it. And that is why for every business that will continue to thrive and grow bigger, the leader must keep growing himself or herself. Because it is the growth within that will give birth to the growth without. Until what is inside of you is enough that others on the outside can begin to plug from, growth on the outside will not be experienced. And that's why you discover all over the world leaders that have missions, who have assignment, they don't rest on their past successes. What they have achieved yesterday, they celebrate themselves for it. They are marching on to the next. On their table, they have lines up of activities. They have goals they are pursuing time after time. May I tell you, beloved, that your last success is your last enemy, is your current enemy also. Your last success is your current enemy. Why? Because you are still dwelling on, you made 1 million last week. Instead of you to plan on how you're going to increase 1 million to 2 million, while you are still rejoicing, that 1 million can keep you there for the next 10 years. So you can put it this way, that your current success or your last success is your current enemy. And for those that will advance into anything, whatever you have done right now, celebrate it, march on. And that's why, as a leader, you can't be successful if you don't have a goal. You don't have what drives you. You don't have what you are running towards. Whether you have a business you are running, whether you are an employee, whether you are an apprentice, whatever class you are, something must be driving you. For example, you are an employee. Your salary every month is 50,000. You should have a goal. If I work in this organization for 12 months, this is what my life ought to have turned out to be. That is a goal. It means that I'm not going to be using all my 10 fingers to eat all thy hand. It means that at the end of this 12 months, I can see that I work in this organization and I've been able to save 300,000. That's an achieved goal. And like I keep telling you, a time will come in some of us in our lives that God will put us in charge of 10 people to lead, 5 people to lead. If the growth in you is not enough, you won't be able to lead them. If you cannot manage what God is doing for you presently, you won't be able to manage what God is bringing to you. And that's why this message is coming to us, because the focus for us as leaders in this church is not just for us to be a prayer warrior, to be a student of the Bible, but to go into the marketplace, to go into the entertainment industry, to go into the education industry, to go into politics and stand as leaders who has knowledge, as someone who have understanding of what to do. I was asking a question from someone that left a job, and I was inquiring. I said, why did she leave the job? And they started saying A and B and C. And along the line, I could spot character issue. Character issue. Yes, you work, but you also have a boss you report to. You cannot work and you have a boss you report to, and you don't expect the boss to correct you. Once your boss corrects you, you should be able to absorb. For as long as you are working there, you absorb the correction and move on, except if you are done serving in that place. But as long as you are there, you absorb the correction and move on. No one is meant to be on the spot for a long or forever. There will always be transition. Am I right? Sometimes it can be 5 years. Sometimes it can be 10 years, depending on how God intends that person to stay there. But for that period of that time, you're going to be there. it should be so be that your character should be that, no, this person learned a lot from here, and we cannot really pick one or two things that really dotted him to be someone we cannot refer. There are people who have left an organization before as an employee. Their boss still refer them to another organization. And there are some they can never. And that's what I tell all of us as leaders in this church. Don't spoil the last place you left. You will still need that same door. If you slam that door, when you need that same door, it will not be open for you. And that's why I've always tell you, sorry is a very big word for some people. Thank you is a very big word for some people. It might be 5 years. That sorry you did not say 5 years ago might be the reason why you have to go back. And at that time, it would have been too big for you to say. That thank you did not say 5 years ago might be too big after 5 years to go back and say it. And that might be the reason why that door will not be open unto you. So as leaders, we make all our wrongs right. As much as we can. God did not create us as a perfect being. He said we should walk towards what? Perfection. So in the bid of trying to be perfect, there are chances for you to commit mistakes. But don't let it be written of you, and he insulted the boss. In fact, they threw water at himself, and he said, I'm not working again. That kind of end is not a good omen. It doesn't speak well of you as a leader. And when I heard that, I said, no, this is character issue. Character issue. So as leaders, let's measure up our lives. And like we prayed in the earlier service, God should open the gate of sight to us. There are some of us, the reason why we behave somehow because we don't know what is ahead of us in 5 years. If you know what God lays for you 5 years' time, there are things you will not allow now. There are things you will not even allow to happen to you right now. I've shared with you before that people have prostrated. Bosses I have served, I committed error. I prostrated because I know my future is bright. I don't want to go back 10 years' time and go and prostrate again. At that time, maybe I'm already in my 45. I will not be going to be prostrated. What if the person is not more alive? And they said, you need that person to get to your next phase. So that's why as a leader, whatever is expected of us at every river we cross, get it done as soon as possible. 5 years' time, you'll be shocked what's going to happen to you. You're like, wow, 5 years like a dream, like that, like yesterday. And those things begin to play out before you. But if you have done this well, it makes your journey an easy ride. It's my prayer for us that we will not fail as leaders in the name of Jesus. There are some of us that God will not give you opportunity like me to be a pastor of a church. There are some of you, what God will give opportunity to be is to be a owner of a school. That's another sphere of influence. There are some of you, God will give you the privilege to be a politician. But once you don't have integrity, you don't have good character, even when you get in the midst of them, you will soil your hand. That's why whatever you are hearing in this church is mixing up and building you up towards something that you are becoming anytime soon. It might not make sense to you right now, but on your subconscious mind, something is registering itself. And a time will come and it start playing out. And when these things begin to play out like movies, you're like, wow, I heard this thing many years ago. Sometimes you might remember, might not be able to remember, but just find a way, let me walk into it. If anything is going to grow in your life, it will begin with you. And if anything is going to die in your life, it also begin with you. So question this morning is that what kind of leader are you going to become? You want to start a fashion business. What kind of leader will people look at you? You want to start a school business. What kind of leader will people look? You want to start pure water business. What kind of leader? There should be this preconceived objective. What kind of leader will people see me to be? See, beloved, I know in our world today, there's what we call do it anyhow and get it anyhow. See, doing it anyhow can give you an immediate result. But on the long run, it does not pay. Because it will still come back, because we say what goes round, it will still come back. There's no way. It's just like putting a round pegs. How do you put it? Putting a what? What do you call that? A square peg in a round. Oh, it keep going round. It keep going round. Keep going round. That's an idiom. Keep going round. So, if there's anything you should checkmate, is what will happen in 3 years, in 5 years' time. So let's look at how we can have a mixture of these 10 laws and apply it to our lives. Number one, like I began last week, is the law of influence. Leadership hinges on the ability to influence others positively, guiding them towards their shared objective. Your first law as leader, like I taught last week, is to influence your followers in such a way that they can submit what they have. In such a way that they met you in 3 months and they said in 3 months, this is what my life has turned out to be. See, beloved, if you're a kind of leader that you buy people's loyalty with money, you are not a good leader. Once you stop giving them money, your loyalty stops. If the reason why people come to your business is because you give them tip, when they check other things, the day they check when I say that this thing is no more coming, they will stop coming to your business. There should be something that drives them to keep coming to your business. That's influence. And if we expand it in another way as a business person, it can be maybe the way you have branded your business, the way you always package that your business. There's a perfume that we used to buy. My wife knows that lady. I've seen other places where they sell perfume. But from the first time I met this sister, the way she packages her perfume in that bag, I just want to always go back there and buy the perfume, even regardless how expensive the perfumes are. That is influence. She has influenced my buying power with her packaging. That is it. So that can be what you need to do to influence your customers to keep coming to you. Are we together? Sometimes some of you too, you have people who are working with you. You can just be putting some few things in place that keep exciting them to come around. Let's have this, let's have this, let's have this. And putting it around can influence them to keep coming. But the objective is that you want to get them to keep coming into your space. Number 2 is the law of integrity. Leaders must uphold unwavering honesty and authenticity, consistency in their words and deeds. For a leader to be seen as a leader of value, integrity must be one of the law the leader must apply. When we say law, we also refer to principles. Because when we say law, these are universal principles that is obtainable all over the world. That was why I gave you, let me use the word, an assertion last week Sunday, when I was in the third service, that if you look at the Indians, it's beyond an assertion anyway, but the Lebanese, they don't know Jesus that you know, but they are applying these same principles and they are successful. Am I right? These are people who stay with these principles of some of them. They are so principled that they cannot add a kobo to what they have given you. Okay, if you can pay me this, they are not willing to. Some of them, their own idol, their own God is in their pockets. But they have these principles that they stayed with time. They cannot just say no. I know what I'm saying this morning. So these are laws that is all over the world and it's obtainable and can be applied. So as a leader, when people come to your business, can they find truth? Let me give you a vivid example. One of the person that I was telling you last week, close to the end of the service, that we gave a reward. What's the keyboard not on, please? That we say, I'm going to give you a plot for this and this you have done. The first time the man came to my office, a couple of months ago, he came with someone and they wanted to buy a few plots. And the first time the man was started having conversation, he said, Mr. Paul, I'm meeting you for the first time, but I can sense that we're going to do a lot of business together. Because just the way you talk, I sense that you're a man of integrity. He's meeting me for the first time. When I hear such words, I'm highly impressed. You are meeting me for the first time, and you can sense my ome of integrity. I said, come on. He said, that was what he said that day. After that time, I didn't meet him again. He said, I perceive we're going to do a lot of business together. 2 months after, he brought a deal worth 30 million. He said, but I told you that we're going to do a business together. We're still in conversation during the week. Mr. Paul, remember I told you that the first time I met you, I said, just by this conversation, and because one thing about me, I don't mind my word. If I say it is A, you meet it as A. If anything is going to make me to make that A to have a cough, I will let you know ahead of time. So I've been upholding that standard for a long period of time, and it's one of the most upheld mantra. I was amazed. If I tell you what this man has done, you'll be amazed. So integrity as a leader can open doors for you in places that you cannot even reach. It was the same man I was telling that when we had some issues with location of some of our property, he said, Mr. Paul, don't worry, I will take care of all those things. I know you are not a kind of man like that. I take it. And he took care of all this mess. If I was to take care of it, it would cost me a lot. He took care of it and everything was fine. That's why I gifted him that plot of land. Integrity as a leader can open doors for you even where you have not reached. Make it your lifestyle. If you have promised someone something, do everything possible to do it. If anything will cost you not to meet up, let the person know ahead of time. Sorry, I will not be able to get this done for you, but please give me 2 days time. I will meet up. Try everything possible. You only need to hand their trust for the first time. For the second time, they will never doubt you. Number 3 law is the law of vision. Law of vision. As a leader, your vision must be compelling, inspiring, to command your followers to keep running after you. The same way as a business person, every time you should be able to communicate where your business is going. It should even be to your buyers as well. We are trusting God that in the next 3 years our business will expand into this area. Clients want to hear that there's progression in the way you are talking, not where you were last year. There's progression. There's this you are aiming towards. There's this you are trying to do. There's this you are trying to do. Psychologically, even you as human, you want to associate with that kind of person. Am I right? It's always telling you the new things they want to do, the next thing they want to do, the next thing they want to do. So as a leader, one of your laws that should follow you is the law of vision. You should be able to create vision for everything you're doing. In the next 2 months, we're going to get this done. Set the parameters and set out the work and let everybody march towards it. That is how to drive yourself as a leader. Don't just assume a position as a leader and be a leader who gives instruction and nothing happens. Create vision. And this can also be done. You can create a vision board. I don't know if I've taught you anything about vision board in this church before. Maybe we'll time our way. Create a vision board. 5 years dream. Paint it with images. In 5 years, we're going to move from point A to point B. How do we get there? We're going to get to this. But in 5 years' time, we would have arrived at this area. That's a vision board. So every time they come around, they see that image. It creates a mental picture in their minds and drives them to say, our boss says we are moving from here to here. In our prayers, we keep saying 5,000 capacity church. That is the vision that my heart holds every day. And it's time that will bring this to pass. It's time that will unveil it. And that's how many of us will say, we knew when we started praying this prayer. It took a while, but eventually it's here. Every vision that is conceived, once the leader does not rest on it, it's just a matter of time. It will come to pass. Because the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain upon what? Upon table. It said, though it tarry, but what? Wait for it. It what? It will surely come. True visions may take a long time to come, but it will surely come. But it will be a mishap for you as a leader not to even have a direction. Are we together? So paint a picture so that people that are following you will just follow you with that mindset. Number 4 is the law of empowerment. Usher, is anybody outside? Check. The law of empowerment. Effective leaders empower their team members by delegating responsibility, fostering growth, and encouraging autonomy. I said it last week as well. As a leader, don't be the one who does everything by yourself, even when you know how to do it. I'm training you, giving you knowledge that can make you a leader of ages and of times. Always think of how I can get party A and B and C involved in this assignment. In economics, there's what we call the division of labor. One job can be divided among 4 persons. Are we together? Not that one person cannot carry out that job, but if it takes one person 10 minutes to accomplish that job, when 4 persons get involved in it, it might just take them 4 minutes. Are we together? That's what we call effectiveness and efficiency. Time is reduced. Result is gotten quickly. Are we together? So what do you need to do? You empower them. When you have people who work with you, empower them so well that they can carry out your assignment on your behalf. Are we together? Even when you are not there, you will know that they will do this the way I would have done it. It's only in Africa and this part of our world that as a leader, whether in church or in industry, that we are afraid that our subordinate will do otherwise, will take over and change everything. Yes, it happens. But you don't submit anything to someone who is not loyal to you. The first thing to expect from anyone who is following you is loyalty. And there are some people in this church, some of them, they are loyal, some they are not yet loyal. Loyalty is not bought. Loyalty is gotten, is earned rather. You can't buy people's loyalty. People buy people's loyalty, but it does not take long. Let people be loyal to you with time. Such kind of loyalty stays forever. Even when you question their loyalty, there will be answer to it. I've shared with some of our leaders that my spiritual father has put me on a test for a couple of times, and to test the loyalty I profess I have for him. And because my heart is so genuine and true, every time the test was put in place, I always passed the test. Because if I said I'm going to serve you, I will serve you, and I will serve you until I'm done. I gave the word 2018 April. God sent me to serve you and the church. And I'm not ready to go until God says I should go. It's the word I gave him. Even when the chances were there to go, I did not go until the word was clear to go. It's called loyalty. So the things I was willing to do, the things I wish to do, once I give it to him, he said, don't, I submit it, I let it go, I move on. That's called loyalty. Now, before that time, he could not conveniently leave church to any other pastors to mount when in his absence. For the first time, he even mentioned to leaders, for the first time, I'll be out of the church and I have somebody to do the job for me. He said, I know my son Paul is there. Paul, everything will be fine because my spirit is upon him. What a confidence. When you begin to have such people around you, it means that as a leader, you have been able to duplicate yourself well. That even if you have gone far in 3 years in a distance, you know that this person will keep doing what you have always wanted to do in that organization. And let me tell you, beloved, there are very few people who have this kind of spirit. There are many or on the larger scale that what they want to do is let the leader just go. They take over everything. They change the whole system. They change it. And that's why, as a business person, as a leader, create systems, create structures for whatever you're doing. Structures and system makes it impossible for anyone to change your patterns. Systems and structure means that this is the way it's been done. It should be followed that same way. Don't introduce anything else. That's all. So when there's no structure, when there's no patterns, anybody can come in and do anything. So empower people who works with you. Let them be able to carry out your job for you, even on your behalf. Number what are we now? Some of us are still not writing. Number what? Number 5 is the law of communication. Make a clear and open, frequent communication. Constantly communicate. Let them know what we're doing next. The next thing we're doing. That's how I carry out my team members in my office. I remember January when we resumed. I told them, I said, this year we're going to do A, B, and C. The number of estates we're going to open is the law of adaptability. The law of adaptability. As a leader, we must remain flexible and adaptable. We must be able to navigate change and challenges with resilience and agility. See, the only thing that is said to be constant is what? Is what? Is change. Things happen. People change. Someone you think is this today, tomorrow it can bring up another character. But as a leader, you must develop the ability to adapt to change. If this person behave this way, what will I do? See, let me give you a scoop of knowledge. One of the things that make you a good leader and a strong leader is for everyone who works with you, you should be able to preempt them 3 steps ahead of you. Are we together? You should be able to do what? You should be able to do what? Preempt them 3 steps ahead. For example, you have 30 people working with you. Preempt that. What if these 30 people, tomorrow they just say they are no more working? You should have what we call the plan B. That's what makes you a good leader. So that when the 30 people disappear, you are not met in a shock and your business is not run down. Things does not stop going. That is how to be a good leader. That change will not happen is a lie. Let's say, for example, in your business, every month you make profit in terms of 200,000. And because of high increase in price of things and the whole thing dropped to 100,000. It makes, number one, some of your staff will not be able to get their salary as they used to get. Is that all right? So you should expect that some of them will start rebelling against you. Some of them will start murmuring. Those who profess to love you in the first time, they will start backbiting. You should preempt it ahead of time. What if they say they want to go? Why not? Create the room. They should go. So, because when you so much believe that nothing can happen, that's when something happens. And when it meets you with a shock, that's where many people, they run into all kinds of things that happens. Sometimes they close the business. There are churches who have closed before. The church is shut down forever because they were not prepared for change that could happen. Like, for example, as a church, I've prepared for the worst thing that can happen to a church. I've built a shock absorber for it, both spiritually and physically. What's the worst that can happen to a ministry? I've prepared for it because it will not meet me in a shock and they say a pastor collapse. God forbid. He broke pastor's heart, not this heart. That is how to be a leader. Expect change to come. What if they said in this complex, we don't want church to be here again. We only have 3 months to go. As a leader, you should be ready to create the next plan. Your landlord says, I want to rebuild my house. 3 months, I'm moving. I want everybody to move out. Prepare for it. That's what we call change. Change is the only thing that is what? Constant. Don't let anything meet you unprepared. That's what makes you a good leader. The next number is what? Number 8 is the law of growth. Continuous personal and professional development is essential for leaders to stay relevant, innovative, and impactful. Continuous personal and professional growth. No one is an island. What you know or what you knew 3 months ago, in 6 months' time might become obsolete. How do you stay relevant is to keep upgrading and keep adding more value to what you already know. That keeps you going. See, one of the things that makes some leaders irrelevant with time is because they stop growing. And the way we're taught in science, the cells, the human cells, what makes human cells and human active is ability to put that cells to work. And what makes that cells to work is reading, doing research. The cells constantly stays refreshed, active. But once what the cells feeds on is no longer getting it, the cells begin to die. And we're told according to science that the cells are in millions. So you keep those cells active by growing them with what they need to grow. For example, to grow your mental cells, it is reading, doing research in lines with your business, refreshing what you've known. There are people who does refresher course. Every 3 months they have this certificate course they're having. They are refreshing their brains. Some of them, they have left school 15 years ago, but they still go back and refresh and refresh. They want to stay relevant, because what you learned 10 years ago, yes, sounds very good, but you'll be shocked that it's no longer useful in this age. Technology had made it so much that it's no longer useful. So how do I stay in trend? By just adding little to what I already know. Are we together? That is the law of growth. Tell somebody beside you, grow from where you are to where you want to be. That is it. That's the law of growth. Number 9, the law of accountability. I'll stop at 10. The law of accountability. Leaders hold themselves and their team members accountable for their actions. Are you accountable as a leader? Let me say this. Sister Tokbe, you have your business you run. Sister Mary, you have a business you run. Am I right? Okay. Who else is going to have a business they run? Good. Sister Vivian, Lovina, you have a business. Let me use 3 of you as example. Now, you have a business that you run. As a business person, you are the one in charge of your money. Am I right? You know what comes in and what goes out. But do you know that you should also create accountability plan? How? Is what I meant. What I mean is that anybody can ask you, for example, anybody, what I meant by anybody, can be your husband. How much did you make in the last 3 months? How much did you spend in the last 3 months? Now, that's not the time to start saying, why are you asking me? Why should I tell how much I have? No, when you begin to sound that way, it means that you are not accountable. What if is interested in your business, but you just want to see your inflow and your outflow? That's all. What if it's not your husband? What if a friend just mentioned, I've been seeing this sister doing well, she sews beautifully well, and if you invest money in her business, it will do well. And the friend just brought the friend and said, okay, what is your inflow and outflow in the last 3 months? And you just put up a word. Why are you asking me for how much I have? Because you were not ready. All they will need from me is that, will this person be accountable? If we ask this person to give us 3 months income and expenditure plan, or what, will the person be able to present it? And what they hear from you is a defensive word. You've turned them off. So what it means that as a business person, you should be accountable. Your accountability could be from that little book where you are putting your check in and check out. You ask yourself that, what if an auditor just come and said, I should open my books? What this money that came into your account, what are they for? Where did they go to? I should not be afraid to be able to give details of what the money, how the money went, and how the money came. Are we together? That is law of accountability. But in Africa, we don't want to be accountable. In developed countries, you cannot spend a kobo. Even as a pastor of a church, you can't spend a kobo from church offering. You can't. Pastor don't spend kobo from church offering. It's only in Africa. Pastor put offering in their boots and take it home. In developed countries, pastor don't spend, even let it be $100 million that's received as offering. Your eye and every day. For them to raise any fund, it goes through check and balances, and there will be an invoice that reflects how that money was moved. They can say, okay, the money was moved for the pastor's house rent, $200. There will be an invoice showing where the money went to, and it must reflect on the account of that company that received that money. The money went to the pastor's account. So what they do is that they put the pastors on salary. What can the pastor receive for a month? Okay, pastor should receive $150, so that every month 150 goes to pastor, and in the description, pastor's allowance. One of my friends taught me this, and he said, see, when auditors come to your business, and they will come anytime you are moving out money from your account, particularly your corporate accounts, let your description be detailed. If you want to move 10 million into your personal account, do you know what to do? Just put MD allowance. No auditor will question you for what is the MD, but it's called, so there can be any amount goes to the MD. It's called MD allowance. Are we together? He said, because when money begin to fly out of your account and there is no description, when auditor comes and asks you to account for that money and you cannot account for it, he said many have landed in jail. Many have landed in jail because they can't defend the money. And let me tell you, to you as a church member, please don't use your account to receive any money from anyone you are not doing any business with. It has sent many people to jail. No matter how close they, please quickly send me your account. Someone wants to send money from US. Once you don't have transaction, don't use your account to help somebody to collect money. If they check where that money goes to and is in your account, forget who they used. They are coming after the person who owns the account. And that's where you need to be very, very careful. I tell my clients, when I'm sending a particular money, put this description. I don't hide skeleton in my cupboard. The money is funded for this purpose. So when they ask me, I'll be accountable for the money. The last one we close on this is the law of servant leadership. The law of servant leadership. True leadership is rooted in service, prioritizing the needs and the growth of others above self-interest, and leading by example with humility and empathy. As a leader, the last law, you must be a servant leader. What we are called to do is to lead people, but at the same time too, we're also called to serve. What I'm doing right now, I'm teaching you, but I'm serving you because it's costing me a lot of time, energy to serve you with this knowledge. I'm a leader, but I'm a servant leader. The same way all of us at our own sphere of influence, whatever you are doing to people, you are rendering a what? A service. You are doing what? For example, you are a teacher. You are standing before the board and you are teaching. You are a leader, but you are still a servant to those students. You are rendering them a service for their own transformation. So you must have that sense of humility that you don't see anyone under you and see the person that nothing good can come out of the person. Because his growth process is happening. It's happening. It's happening. It is time that will tell. Serve everybody that God brings around you for as long as it's in line with your assignment. Serve them and move on. Let me wrap up with this. I'm sure all of us who went through secondary school, went through primary school. Some of us, if in a flash, you can still remember your teachers who taught you in primary school. Some of them, they are late. Some of them, they are alive. Some of them, if you go and check right now, some of them, they are redundant. Some of them, they are old age now. You don't want to look like them. Why? Because something happened to them. And you will not want that same thing to happen to you. It's true. Some of us, you are laughing. There are some of my teachers, when I see them, but there are some of them I'm proud of what they have become. I told my student in 2006, when I started teaching in Aware, Touch of Life International School. The school is still, I think the school is still on right now. Touch of Life. Maybe they folded up, I don't know. It's folded up. But 2006, when I started teaching this Aware, I was teaching some students, and I said, look at me. Anything I'm teaching you, I'm 3 times ahead of you. I will never be a teacher that will teach you and you will come back and meet me on that spot. I said it's 2006. I was just about 19 years. I said, I will not teach you anything and you will say, said after they taught us, they went to university and they still made a teacher. I said, it's a circle that happened, teacher, but I am not one of that teacher. As you are going, I have gone 3 times ahead of you. And all of my students, to the glory of God, they met me bigger than where they left me. All of them, they still take instruction from me till I'm talking to you. One of such of them, after teaching them, they went to Ghana to study information technology, mobile hub, all these ones. They came back to Nigeria. I still employed them to do my job. One of them built the hub we're using for Catchfest. I paid them in thousands. The one that built for the land bank, our hub, is one of them. I still employed them to do the job. They did not meet me where they left me. They met me 10 times bigger than where. That's what I call growth as a leader. You have to keep evolving. God forbid that you come back and meet me where you left me. Someone say, God forbid. Keep evolving as a leader. Keep evolving as a leader. That is when people will love to emulate you. Even at 60, they still want to look like you. They still want to be around because they know that this man is evolving. It's evolving. It's evolving. The Lord help us in Jesus' name. I don't know if you grab anything in these 10 laws. Can somebody just tell us 3 of these laws? Anyone, quickly, then we'll pray. Favor, tell us 2 laws of leadership. Speak quickly. Mention 10. Okay, be ruminating. Brother Samuel, 2 laws of leadership. You want to look at your book? Law of influence. Law of vision. Okay, brother Favor. Law of integrity. And which one again? Law of loyalty. Okay, you added that one to your own. Law of loyalty. Yes, very important, but it's number 11 now. Since you had one added. Okay, sister Gift, I wanted to mention. You are charging your phone. Sister Mary. Okay. Law of the rest is gone. Law of vision. Sister Mary. Law of trust. Sister. Adaptability. My wife. Yes, adaptability, ability to change. Law of accountability. See, all of these laws, they are applicable in anything you do. Oh, Mr. Andero came in. Which one did you hear? Law of what? You are charging your phone too. It's applicable in anything. Just apply any one to your life and you see the result. Please bow your head and just pray for like 1 minute and say, Lord, help me to be a good leader. In my business, as a father, as a mother, help me to be a good leader. As an employee, you are leading something. They put some things in your care, you are a leader. You are an apprentice, they put some things in your care, you are still a leader. I receive the grace to be a good leader. I receive the grace to be a good leader. Thank you, Father. We give you praise and glory. In Jesus' precious name we are praying. Can we say louder, amen? You don't want to miss the next teaching. I'll teach you how you can plant the heavens in your life, in your home. Powerful teaching. God bless you. Let's make welcome the choir right now as they take us forward.